know that right hand in your sleep, like we did with the clumping, the clustering, that always helps. You can also do something like this. This is like the way I practice. I go like, tell me why I do this. I clump the right hand and I did my left hand. It makes sense. It's a process that's layering me up. But you certainly have to know your left hand in your sleep, what's going on there. You have to isolate it like we just did now, because it's so tricky there. Everything stops. It goes into a different mode. First of all, the red flag is a change of key, tonality, modulation. So he makes a big deal out of it by doing the rhythm in the left hand, changes what? The articulation. So you have a yeah. So what did I do just now that would be helpful? I did this, I clumped this, then I accent, I clump this, I did it before, I connect, and so that's like a double layering, a double clumping, right, up on top and on bottom. Believe me, if you do that enough. Right, connect. Good. And octave. Yeah, at the end you can do your octave, just forward. If you do that enough times, you won't have any hesitation when you get. Okay, now show me that. Right. You know, the whole thing of learning is you have to know your fingering, like your choreography. Your fingering is everything, right? You do know the content is major, second, minor, but you need to know the right fingers that get there for the event. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Blocking is a great. 2, 3, 2. Right. It's a scale. It's got a little scale there. He has a little scale. He has this to this to this, right? Me, re, do. At that point I go me, re, do. Those are my principal notes, which I'm going upper neighbor and back. Yeah, that's all that's happening. There you go. But you know, use the right fingers, of course. Yeah, you can go me, re, do, do. So you make your practicing economical when you go to the spots that have the problems. You always have to circle the places you got hesitant and it sort of stopped the flow, right? Otherwise, everything before that you seem to know very well, right?
I have a question about like this.
Right.
So that I think all the first one needs to be, as you said, more stronger than the rest, yeah. But if you, or should that be? Should the first one, like the B, be the stronger bit?
No, I wouldn't say no. I would say it's going to be da-dee-da, ba-ee-da, ba-ee-da, ba-ee-da. This is called appoggiatura. Appoggiatura is where you approach a note by a leap, of some kind of leap, and resolve it by step. And the harmony is in the resolution note. So that the dissonant note is what comes out. So you don't want, you want the opposite. Da-ee-da, da-ee-da. Da-ee, da-ee, ta, ta. Yeah, for sure.
So the resolution is on the last one?
Yes, but then you're leaning on the non-harmonic tone. That's the appoggiatura sense of this piece. It goes into appoggiatura right there because a big leap and a resolution. So the resolution is less. The springboard is to the non-harmonic tone. It's right here. Listen to the dissonance. Doesn't fit. Fits now. But this, we don't want this. We don't want any thumbs poking out. We're going toward the dissonant note in that shape, this. Da-ee, 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 da-ee.
It's resolved on A, right? Or resolved on, on F.
F sharp.
No, A.
Right, the resolution note is the...
Sorry, on the F.
Are you looking at the resolution note is the F sharp, correct. Yeah, so that means you have to dip it down. When you resolve, you dip down. Yeah. These aren't called appoggiaturas. I was in New York City and we discussed appoggiaturas. They're very emotional because you have a clash and then have a resolution. And you have to bring out the clash, yes. And the clash notes are, and there's a springboard to the clash note. So it's this. Yada. Ba-ee-da, 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 right? It's different than the beginning. The beginning is different because it's coming down in a different shape. It's just da-da, 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 right? This is different. Suddenly we get da-ee-da, 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 that motion, extreme. Use a little bit extreme on that one. Yeah. Yeah, so in other words, you don't want to poke the thumbs out. You don't want to poke the first note out of the 3/16 notes, ever, in this whole piece. Never happens.
So that should be soft, yeah, the first note.
Right, because it's a springboard to the appoggiatura, which is the non-harmonic tone, before it resolves. Yeah, that's a beautiful area of the piece because it changes the note content, right? It's no longer 3 notes coming down or lower neighbor coming back. It's bigger leaps, which creates more tension. More tension. But then he comes back to soft, right? And he comes back.
Yeah.
The biggest part of the piece, though, is where's the biggest part of this piece, basically?
The biggest part.
Yeah, the biggest part of the piece. I mean, it actually coincides with a key change, a big key change from the first section to the G major. That's a huge, big uplifting of the piece into like glaring G major from E minor, right? So the meat of it is going to be that section in G major. Yes, I would say so. Yeah, yeah. So you want to aim for that. Suddenly, this. Right? Passionate, very much there. It's a short little piece. We're not talking about a symphony. And then, of course, you're going to have your, eventually your coda at the end, a little coda at an ending is going to be, you know, you'll work on that too. So what do you think you should do to improve this now? You think you do some blocking and chunking? Yeah.
Yeah, so the blocking, I think it's the same place. I need to focus is the G major, ending of the G major, yeah?
Are you talking, it goes into B minor. It goes into B minor. Notice where it goes into B minor? Very, very briefly.
Yeah, very end.
At the end of the first section. Right, right.
That's B minor, right?
B minor, right. And that would be called the dominant minor. It would be called the dominant minor. Yeah, 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 exactly. And then B minor drops down by a third, by a major third to that. Here's what he does in this piece. He goes like this. Watch. That's the harmonic scheme of what he does up to that point, to the G major. And the G major eventually comes back down to E minor, right? So he starts in E minor, very briefly to the end, in G major and E minor. That's it. You should know that. You should know what the piece is doing. Yeah, definitely. Can I hear a little bit, now let me hear again the G major section and what you were doing with the appoggiaturas, see if the appoggiaturas are working nicely.
Well, I think it's basically the same pattern, isn't it?
Right,
as more or less.
Right, let's do
as
that.
As the E minor.
Exactly, because everything comes back the same as the beginning. Well, careful there. I heard that before. Yeah, I heard the wrong note before, and I thought maybe it was just an accident. But in the second section, can you go over to, and I wish I'd measure numbers, go over to here. Make sure you have the right notes. When you did this, da-da, 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 I didn't hear a B here. I didn't hear a B. Da-da, da-da, B, da-da, da-da, B. All B's. All B's now, right? All B's. I'm not hearing a B in the right place, so let me hear that. Appoggiatura. The appoggiaturas. Okay, so something's not the same as mine. Mine goes C, B, A twice, C, B, A, and it goes down to B. B, A, G, B, A, G. Make sure you get those notes. Now, right.
Yeah.
So you watch where your thumbs are going. The thumbs are the guide for the hand. Right. And the other thing I want to point, now you have it right. The other thing I want to point out is when you have a dominant, and we're learning about theory now, when you have a dominant going to a tonic, I want you to shape down your tonic note. So in other words, if this is dominant, is it not? Da-dee-da, da-dee-da, less, da-dee-da. I don't mean super less because it's getting softer after that. But you got to do something a little bit less after do you play? Yeah. Let's say I do deeper. Watch. Da da dum, da da da, less, da da. I went less. Now I'm really dipping. Right, I'm dipping as I go down, but I still have to know dominant to tonic is a subdivision going down. Be careful of that. Be careful of that. Yeah. Be careful. Yeah, because a lot of people, they hammer out the dominant and the tonic is just as loud, and I don't get it, you know, what's going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So that's another thing. And so it's very nice. It's doing quite well, and you've only had it a short time, so it's doing very, very well. Don't try to rush it yet. Don't try to go fast.
Okay.
Because the slower you know something with all the details, every detail, believe me, it will keep it when you go quicker, when you ripen into the quicker tempo. But the people who race through it in the first place, they never get it right. If that makes sense.
Okay, so maybe I should go even slower, right?
Absolutely. The best players can play anything so slow and still command interest in the way they're playing it. Right? They can still make it beautiful because they're riveted to every phrase, every nuance, every detail, and then as you go up in tempo, you have it there forever. It'll always be there for you. And then when you return to the piece a year later, it will already be in your hands because you did the work very stepwise. Yeah, I certainly believe in that. Because it's not a sight reading exercise. If this was sight reading exercise, that's another story. But really learning the piece. So that's good. So now, any problems looking ahead at the coda? Is that pretty clear what's happening? What's different about the coda from the rest of the piece? Why does it stand out? When you look
I haven't really looked at. Is that the second, the ending of the second page, right?
If you just looked at it, just visually, what stands out looking at it from what you've done before, what you see before?
It's okay. So it's the left hand is not playing staccato, right?
That's right. It makes a huge difference, right? When you go from these punctuated chords to very legato, cello part, kind of cello line connected. Yeah. So that's going to make a difference in the character of the ending. Yeah. It's not going to be short and crisp anymore. It's a little bit less. Well, it's still agitated. It's still going to be agitated because you have those groups of 3 16th notes, but it's going to feel differently. You'll see. You'll do fine on that. That's as long as you know there's a difference. But look what he does at the very last 2 measures. He goes back to what? The crisp left hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a little bit.
Yeah, only the first. The first bar of the ending and the last. Yeah, it's a staccato, and then it's all legato.
It's a very kind of pixie-ish ending where it's just just nothing. It's beautifully put together. Wonderful piece. And so good for the technique, as you know. You might also consider the new part, when you get to the coda, start blocking out major second, minor second, major second with the right fingering, so you fall into these things easy.